3rd of July 2023, that's a Monday now. A bit windy today, 18 degrees Celsius. So still summer, still nice. Quite pleasant. Okay. And I think I'm like 4 minutes later than announced. So, anyway, we're here now. I have proposed to just, I'm planning to just do like 60 minutes. In general, 60 minutes. That will be weekdays, Monday, Tuesday. It's possible Wednesday as well, but because I'm having two clubs and there's a lot of traveling involved, maybe I'm not quite sure, but definitely Thursday will be returning. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Very likely Friday, uh, Saturday also, and if it's Sunday, it's got to be 1 to 2 p.m., something like this. Anyway, just check on the Twitch if there's any interest. Hello, Tom. Good to see you. So, how's it going? So, just telling my friends that on Twitch, I just put the schedule over there, and I'm trying to stick to that. Yeah, that's fine. So, impossible not to meet each other. How's your games lately, Tom? How's it going? uh, no, let me put more green tea now. I plan myself, I mean, if I'm loading too much caffeine, then I can't I can't really go to sleep very easily. So so it's almost 7 p.m. now. So I said, I'm gonna have a few cups of green tea, which I don't know if it's wiser necessarily, but hey, there we are. Yeah, I try to cut off cut off the caffeine, but I'm having green tea, so they got a 10 or something. Okay. All right. So, how's the sound, Tom? Ah, Stonewall at the perk. Oh, you don't mean the Dutch with the F5, D5, E6, F5. I think it was that crazy stuff. Good audio levels. Thank you very much for confirming. You're talking about the perk. Most of the things we do. I mean, ultimately, if I remember well, Tom, in the last games we've played, well, I know it was a blitz, but you did very, very decent. You did very decent, and it was just tactics due to time. So I think uh, I think you should be doing just rapids now. You playing you doing blitzes mostly or rapids? What do you play, Tom? What's your time control? Let me move the chat just a bit up. Yeah, perk is absolutely brilliant. It's really good stuff. I noticed when I'm playing 10 minutes, I do get some games. I do get game. I mean, I'm not waiting for too long. So yeah, if I put blitz, indeed, I do get opponent very quickly. If I put 3 minutes, 5 minutes, I do get someone to play with. That's for sure. But either on chess.com or Lee Chess, those two I'm using them heavily. I do get rapids. I think I got a few rapids yesterday or today on Leech. It was fairly quickly. 10 minutes, that is. So rapids, 10 minutes. So if you put on chess.com 10 minutes, you don't get opponents? Oh, you're talking about strictly about your personal availability for spending more time or something. Because at 10 minutes, you should be able to get someone. I mean, most of the players are on chess.com, so impossible not to get someone to playing. Should be able to get a player. Do you know, because you're here, let me briefly look at the. Have you played some games lately, Tom? Ah, it's about your personal time. Okay, I mean you don't have time like to spending. Okay, I see now. Okay, which one might that be? Uh, just try to remember. Was the 1-5 or 1-4-3? I'm just trying to remember the or 1-3 or what? What was that? 1-4. Hold on a second. Maybe I can find you on the friends or something. Just trying to have a quick look at. Ah, I think you were there. Oopsie daisy. Let me go back briefly. Oh, there you are, sir. Okay. All right. So that would be a daily one. 16 moves. I'm just curious what happened here in this game. So you were black here. Let's just do it in this fashion. If you don't mind, if you don't mind to having a look at this one. It happened. I blunder too. Every now and then. I mean, we do blunder. It happens. So you went bishop f5. Let's have a look. Knight f6. He goes straight with. Oh, hold on a second. Can we apply our favorite line? We should be doing e6. Oh, all right. I think e6 is required, but I think you can though. Let me see what happened. Yes, okay. Hey, they played the knight now. So whatever you do, they're gonna be blocking, but it's still worth it. They were prepared. They were prepared, Tom, because this is the correct move here. The correct move is indeed King E2, which looks a little bit crazy like a bone cloud type of move. So your opponent, this fella, your opponent knew the sequence. So he didn't play random stuff here. He actually knew. He was prepared. He was absolutely prepared. Thank you very much, Tom. Yes. So in this line, there is only the King E2 to play. Ah, right. And because it's correspondence, you can see the moves, the opening. And I think chess.com also, they said that you could also open up books, thematic games in various archives. Just not the table base, not the live engine per se. But you could open up magazines or archives, online electronic archives with thematic games. So can you believe that if it's a thematic game, you could just go with the last stuff that happened in that London system when you can go up to move what 15, 20 moves. You've already played the best moves on the planet. Yeah, it is very possible, Tom. It is. So in the correspondent chess, you can use the thematic games as per chess.com recommendations. Just not the engine, but otherwise you can go have a look on any archive, anywhere, any games that's been played. So I suspect your opponent was very much into this. So yeah, because King E2 is actually the stuff that has to be played. So he didn't go. Yeah, it's a slight advantage. Okay, so let me just see what is going on here. Okay, we've got the bishop and we've got the pawn on b7. We still got a little bit of a problem with that guy. So now I wonder. Yeah, there is something here. Hold on a second. Let me just go back a bit. Let me tell you something else here. I didn't study any other games in the position, Tom, but I'm thinking at this stage now, I'm really considering maybe bishop d6. Maybe bishop d6. Maybe. Um, And actually, are we okay? Let me look at this one now because I'm doing analysis. Let me close this. Does the engine still show? Yeah, that's fine. Oops. Let me go to flip the board. Actually, let me go to this one here. What does the engine say? Yeah, that's it. Bishop d6. Also, your move has been proposed as well. Knight bd7. Just that after queen b3, knight takes e5. So my move would have been bishop d6 now. I don't think it's the end of the world, though. So I would have played probably bishop d6. Your move is the first line of the engine anyway, so you don't have a problem. Now you've got to take... All right, so I think a5 is not probably the best choice here. The engine would say, I think, knight takes, right? And after bishop takes here, you probably could do this kind of... Let me just check again. So knight takes e5, bishop takes a5. Yeah, do you know something? a5 is still playable here, apparently. And after a3, bishop e7. I don't think there's... Wow, that's good. So what's wrong? Queen takes b7, so the guy took. You've taken. He took. What did you play? Castles. Hey, let me tell you something, Tom. I know it looks a little bit weird, maybe, but I think I would choose blacks here. I like the fact that my rook might be eventually playing like this. So the c6 is a bit poisoned. They can't really touch it. And they still need to figure out what to do with the bishop on f1, Tom. Huh. So you took. Maybe. Okay, do we really have to take? Oh, actually, yeah, the engine says rook c8. So let me just toggle off those lines. So I like this idea. It is a bit of a poison pawn here because after rook c8, we are hitting the queen. Queen must move. And for instance, if they go a4, we're going to strike on c4 with tempo. And we have a possibility for rook c2 check. So c6, a bit of a poison pawn. I don't think white should touch it. Not in this sequence now. Not with rook on c8. That is why, on a very brief assessment, I would say it's a little bit poisoned, that c6. Not the end of the world, but white has to tread very carefully after they take that pawn. Here, I would probably think about this. I would probably even maybe, I don't know, knight bd. I want them to take, actually. Well, let me think. Do I? No, rook c8 because I want to stop any bishop eventually. So you took. Now they make space for the other guy. Now it's time for you to just try something like this, I guess. Or maybe this. Knight d5, rook a to c8. Knight d5, rook a to c8, I think look very natural. This one too. Actually, I'm happy if they took because this bishop is quite annoying. So I'm looking at bishop d6. Happy for them if they took. I know it looks a bit messy, but actually I've gotten rid of that very annoying bishop. And perhaps I could play some rook b8 at some point. Oh, that's okay. So, yeah, okay. Cool. I see now. I see. Yeah, that was a little bit of a misstep. So we are looking at knight d5, rook c8, bishop d6. Let's see what the engine suggests. The engine suggests bishop d6, and I'm actually happy. Knight d7 as well. And suddenly rook c8 is no longer considered very powerful. But they go with bishop d6. I think I would play bishop d6, Tom, here. Because I really feel the powerful need to get rid of that bishop. The bishop on e5 is incredibly annoying. Is massively annoying. It's actually that piece I really want to get rid of. I can't tolerate this bishop. It's pretty much suffocated. It takes everything. It just takes everything from black. So bishop d6, totally. And if they take, for the better. If they don't, as sure as hell, I'll take that bishop off the board on next turn. I don't keep that bishop on the board any longer. I can't tolerate that bishop. It's absolutely, yeah. Okay, that was a misstep for sure. Yeah, not too much play now, I guess. Yes, probably I would have resigned as well. Yeah, the c6, I wouldn't even bother about that c6 pawn. Actually, secretly, I wish them to take the pawn. Secretly, I would like white to take the pawn because rook c8, it really, really, it's a delightment. I would like to do that, actually. I'd like them to. So c6, actually, I would give them willingly, probably. Yeah. I think you did very well up to this point. I don't think that's a problem. And by the way, Tom, personally, when I'm seeing the London system nowadays, let me just briefly say. So when I'm playing nowadays, let me flip the board. um, After bishop to f4, I personally go c5 straight away. I think, Tom, you should be looking at c5 straight away. You need to challenge them immediately. Don't give them any respite. It's not a Dragodov, it's just one particular way of challenging white immediately and trying to disturbing them. You need to disturb white here. You don't need to allow them to thrive in their well-known structure. So nowadays I'm going c5 immediately if I can. I'm going c5 straight away. And just I try to see what they want to play here. They could play very many things. They could play c3, they could play what? Knight f3, to which I just take immediately. They could play this. Probably I would take, I would push. I mean, it's not what they want, and I mean, I want to... There are many, many, many possibilities here, so I don't know, what shall we looking at? They could play knight f3, they could play e3, they could play c3. In case they do knight f3, I would just take... They just do this. I mean, if they take, I'm absolutely super happy. I think I'm very, very happy. I'm super happy with this now. Looking at this sort of, yeah, a little bit resembles the dragon. Yes, spot on. A little bit resembles the dragon. I would be super happy with this position for black. Yeah, this kind of ideas. Maybe d6, so g6, d6, because this bishop is still, it's still plaguing. It's still a problem, that bishop. So you gotta be very careful. If you want to play g6, I think you could play g6. You could play d6. You could play this, then try and make a pin if possible. You never know. Hey, even this one at some point. Depends what they do. So this, I mean, you want to get rid of this guy, but... Oof, it's sunny again. I need to pull off the curtains. Tried the stone wall against the London with some success, trading off that dark bishop. I haven't played that stuff that you're saying. So against the London, you played the stone wall. Okay, let me understand. You played f5. I think that's the Dutch defense, the stone wall, right? With the e6 and d5, if you can remind me. I haven't played the stone wall like since I was a teenager or something. I mean, oh my god. So you d5. Well, hold on a second. Isn't it f5? Okay, but probably you wanna go d5 first or something. f5 later. Okay, e6, f5, I reckon. So bishop f4, and now you're doing e6, or what do you play? You do e6. Okay, a little bit shutting this bishop in, but if you want to play the stone wall, then that's the fate of the bishop for the time being. It will be just like this, not a super happy one. So they probably go many stuff. I mean, they could do very many things. I know, this is a bad bishop. It's a infamously bad bishop. In the French, in the Dutch, it is a bad bishop. In the Semi-Slav, again, not a very super happy bishop, indeed. That's very good, bishop d6. This is brilliant. Of course, you need to counteract that bishop. I totally understand. I totally agree. I mean, white can do very many things. And now you go f5 after e3 or bishop d6. Now, if you want to neutralize that guy, probably bishop d6, just to make sure you take it off. But they might be dropping on g3, so I'm not fully convinced we should take it after after h takes g. Bishop d6, they probably drop it. I can't recommend 100% to go take the bishop now. Oh, you want to take it? Okay. Okay. You could play like this. Yeah, okay, you could play like this. Okay, no more dark square bishop. Okay. Okay. It's worth investigating some c6, queen b6. It's definitely worth investigating here. Ah, that's very interesting. This is very interesting. Castle queenside. Okay. Personally, I would look at some knight c6 ideas. c6. Bishop, sorry, queen b6. I want to attack the b2. Now, since there is no dark square bishop, I'm trying to identify the weaknesses quickly. So maybe this one is not that bad after all. I guess you could. But mind you, Tom, they could still do castle on the king side. They could still castle on the king side. I mean, you don't know. They could just leave the king there for the time being. But I guess, you know, if you want to actually have your opponent revealing their intention, maybe some c6, queen b6. Let's see what they want to play against that one. Okay. I wouldn't do f5 here, though. I mean, not myself. I suspect it's playable, but it's not. Definitely not my first choice. I would play I would play knight f6 because that feels like the natural square for the knight. Ah, you want to play the... Okay. Okay, I understand. Well, if that's your structure, if that's how you're planning on your piece's development, then that's fine. So you're playing now, you say f5. In this position, you go with f5. I'm still not certain. Let me tell you something. Including c5 still looks something to be played here, really. You play king e7. Oh my days, that's knight e7. Knight e7. Oh, I guess you can, but I would just go c5 here. You could do knight e7. You could do even knight f6, which seems better. f5, I wouldn't do f5 here. Yeah, that's fine. You wanna play the knight. That's okay. Knight e... Not my choice, though, but I suspect you can. I would just play c5. Because if they capture, I have the queen a5. Check. And I'm attacking the pawn. And they don't have a dark square bishop. So I think I would be incredibly happy, actually. Okay, they could do some bishop b5, I guess. But hey, if I can play bishop d7, why not? Let them take, and then I'm going to take the knight developing my guys here. c5 is something. Fianchetto the white bishop? Oh, but that will take some tempi. That will take some tempos, Tom. If you get the bishop here, that will take some tempo. It's not my style. It probably has some virtues. I think seems to be quite solid, but it's not my personal way to be playing here. I would probably go c5 straight away. Uh-huh. I would just go c5. Let me see what the engine suggests. The engine suggests queen e7 and c5. Well, I'm happy because c5 is what I would play. Absolutely c5. Totally c5. And queen e7, let me tell you something about a queen e7. Queen e7 is based on the fact there is no dark square bishop and actually wants to go queen b4. Tom, the idea is queen e7 because of queen b4 check. Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to get this in your own time. In your own time. Yeah, I'll definitely go c5. I can't afford the luxury to excessively prepare. And you know what I feel, Tom, is that if I were to do knight e7, I feel it like insufficient. It blocks my queen. I feel like I am playing too passively. Knight e7. I can't go anywhere with the knight, really. I mean, probably knight f5, but why? So if I am to play the knight, I'll just go knight f6. It feels incredibly natural. Here, knight f6, c5, get the queen out, queen b6. In the light of the engine suggestions, queen e7 seems to be formidable, which actually makes a ton of sense. Queen e7 is you know, looks like that kind of uneventful move, but is incredibly dangerous. If white doesn't catch the danger, and let's just assume white ignores completely. White says, I don't care. I'm just going to play bishop d3 or knight f3. It's something here, although looks uneventful. I think queen to b4 is very, very dangerous for white. It's a problem. I think they've got a bit of a problem. Yes, it is very likely white will be probably, they might be tempted to say, I don't care about queen e7. I'm okay. I'm just going to play knight f3, bishop e2, bishop d3. I'm going to play, well, knight c3. It's still playable, I guess, because then they have the time to react. But if they do any kind of developing moves on the king side, you might have the queen to b4 and b2. Very serious problem for white. Very serious problem here for white. I like it. The more I look at it, the more queen e7 obviously seems to be incredibly brutal. c5 was my personal choice here. Not a bad one either. Actually, white can't afford to take, but it's not as aggressive as queen e7. It's good. I think c5 it has a lot of virtue, but it's not as aggressive as queen e7. Because queen b4 is a nightmare for white. Yeah. There is no dark square bishop, Tom. So queen to b4 was to be feared if the bishop existed, but there is no bishop here. You've got no dark square bishop. I don't think you got a problem. Queen e7, c5, brilliant. Knight c6, fantastic. So you do have a problem. You need to be worried about a queen if there is a dark square bishop. But since you took the bishops out, you don't have a problem. Actually, white has a problem. And frankly, white should be aiming to play queen b3 as quickly as possible. I think that might be a good one for them. Stifling a little bit your bishop. But, if you do this kind of things, that looks really good. Queen e7, fantastic. Think about this idea, Tom, because I think if you have to go queen e7, which is a little bit strange, because normally we don't want to play the queen very early in this position, but here after bishops came off the board, and now I think queen b3 is something that happens a lot, very, very often. Queen b3 and queen b6, of course. c3 or c6, queen b3, queen b6. You always find these moves. Always. Of course, and yeah, the idea would be bishop c3, bishop d3, queen c2, and yeah, you've got to be careful about this. You need to be careful on this. I'm going to draw those curtains. I mean, the sun is absolutely blinding. I can't see nothing. Pardon me, guys. Let me just fix those curtains, and we'll be returning perhaps. it's too dark, I'll just turn on the lights now. Okay. Okay. Queen b3, when exactly, Tom? So, personally, I don't take on g3 unless I'm having a plan or something. So if you look at some lines, and if you I mean, look, you could take on g3, Tom, and 99.99 of the cases they will capture, and because your preparation is queen e7, Tom, so have this as your personal prepared line. So do what you said you're gonna do. Bishop f4, e6, e3 or knight f3 they will be playing. Bishop d6, they will drop bishop g3, you take, they take with h, and your secret move and your secret plan now, Tom, would be queen e7. And that requires from your opponents to either spot on immediately, and perhaps some of them, or maybe many of them, will be ignoring. So let this be maybe your secret plan in your future games against the White with London. You never know. Practice it a couple of times. You remove the dark square bishop, and now you could go queen b4. Totally. If the engine, after queen b4, if white doesn't play now queen d2 or c3 or a3, they probably have a very serious problem. So white needs to stop black now. White needs to stop the black queen to move on b4. So they need to do this kind of things. They have to. If they don't, they will have a problem. So if it's knight f3 or bishop e or bishop d and you play queen b4, white is in trouble here. It's not good. It's not good for white. I mean, whatever they play, this guy's gonna fall. At least a pawn, if not c3. I don't think they could do that. Okay, they could go... I mean, no, that's just losing for white big time. We're gonna take another pawn. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Of course. c3. But you know, I still think you're doing very well. Just go c5. c5, knight f6. c5. You don't have any problem whatsoever. c5, knight f6. Hello, Dave Mate X. Right. So c5, knight f6, knight c6 to be played here. I don't think there is a problem. Hey, even e5. Well, I'm not sure about e5, but c5 for sure. Not an easy... I mean, it's very much to be played here. I think it's equal or maybe a bit of an edge for white. But doesn't mean now black's gonna lose or anything. It's a long game. Dave, I don't know what you're saying that I've hidden, mate. I don't even know you. Unless you're probably joking or something, which I understand. e5 until castle, I think. Yeah, well, king safety is incredibly important. So, yeah, it's incredibly important. Now, also, maybe if bishop d3, we might consider c4. So that we don't allow to build up the battery with the queen and bishop. Perhaps that's another idea. So you could play like in expectance, so knight to c6, see what they want to do. Or, I don't know, if they do knight... If they play knight f3, maybe you just go c4 straight away. So you take the d3 squares from the bishop. I think that's not a bad idea. I think that's actually a good one. Try and close it on the queen side. See what happens next. Knight c6. Knight f6. Let's see what happens. Something like that. Again, this is far from over. This is absolutely far from over. Totally far from over. It's a long game. It's a long, arduous game. You need not fear any checks, incoming checks. If there is a queen, you've got this. If they go b3, you've got this. I don't think there's any problem whatsoever. It's okay. So knight f6, very natural square. Let's find out. I don't know what the engine say here. I absolutely don't know what the engine say. The engine says exactly as I said, a bit of edge for white. Bishop e2, by the way. Do you know why bishop e2? Because the engine knows if they go d3, you're going to play probably c4. And just they either go c2, therefore queen can't play. So the queen can only go to e or f, which is not a big deal. So the engine now prefers bishop e2 and maybe queen to c2. Just in case that you're going to play something queen b6 at some point in the future, I guess. So the engine says just a bit of an advantage for white. Bishop e2, knight to d2. Knight f3, natural moves. Queen to g4. Hey, look at this one. Queen to g4, d takes c. That's the last line of the engine. D takes C, not very appealing because it just simply activates your queen. What would be the big deal here? So queen to g4, that's a bit weird. Probably not very... Okay, it attacks g7, that's true. It does. Believe it or not, the best move would be king f8. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So if you understand this stuff and you try and remember, I think you might be able to apply some ideas in the future games. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, that's exactly how they do it. I mean, at the highest level, there's always one or two assistants that have learned all the lines and ideas, and they come up with the move like Queen e7. Exactly as I told you now, Tom. I mean, someone stays, study a possible sideline, and then they tell to the guy, look, tomorrow in the match with that guy who is a renowned player of London system, I've prepared this secret weapon for you. And, you know, the assistant tells the GM, look, Queen e7 is actually something you need to play tomorrow. You know, and then they stay in debate, you know, they debate like a couple of hours, possible stuff that might be happening. Like c3 to stop. What do you do? Yeah, what do you do against the c3? So queen e7, what do you do after c3? Do you go c5? Then probably this might happen, and if it happens, you gotta go king f8. Then you have the knight f6 hitting the queen with tempo, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, it's good to do the homework. But then, yeah, I think you totally should. Absolutely. I like it. I like the idea with queen e7. I'm always keen on pushing the c5 anyway, but I think queen e7 has a lot of aggressiveness in it. I think it's very good, queen e7. Keep this in mind. You never know, Tom. That's a good stuff. So play it up to this point, and then trade off the bishops, and then, you know, do what we said and see how it see how happens. See what happens. You're not doing worse. Queen e7. What's the... Okay, it's a plus 0.22. Plus 0.24 plus... Yeah, okay. I think it's quite negligible from a human point of view. I mean... Yeah. That's the evaluation given by the engine now, so... Tom, if you want, let's have a training game. Let's have a training game, something like 10 minutes unrated. And then we'll just wrap it up because it's not too many viewers anyway. We don't have too many, not even 3-4 people. I was planning initially to make to do an arena or something, but it's just one or two max at times. So let's just do a friendly one. Where is here you are. Let's just give it like 10 minutes or something. So not blitz, so you can actually give it some thought. Okay, okay. Do it like this. Yeah. And if suddenly we got like 5, 6 people storming through the gates, yeah, probably we'd be staying slightly longer. If not, we'll just wrap it up after this. So d4. I always go knight f6. I mean, I could do something else, but I normally could just go like this. Goes like this or not? Okay, you played already knight e5. If I was white, I think previously I would have looked at developing more pieces. I don't say that's fundamentally wrong or something, but I think it's just you probably need to get all the stuff active first. Right. So what I mean, I didn't do nothing special. I just got a bishop out with tempo, and now I castle. That's it. And then I'm gonna think what I'm doing. Knight c6 or one thing or another. Okay, let's just take this bishop now. Okay, now you are attacking my bishop. I gotta do something. What do I want to do? Let me take this pawn. Hi there, Charlotte. How's it going? Alright, let me see what I'm doing here now. Either develop stuff or just simply go for the weaknesses as much as I can. I would be very much tempted to play a very natural move. Now, I wonder if I can delay that move. I mean, I love to play knight c6 here. I'd love to do that. Really. I'm not. Okay. Now I think I could play something with tempo. I could do something with tempo now. Knight on e4. So I don't move twice in the opening, the same piece, unless I'm actually targeting something. It was acceptable, Charlotte. Yeah, that was a good day. I'm okay now because I'm with my friend here, Tom, and now we got you as well, so we can just discuss these ideas as we play. So knight f6 to e4. Now I think I can afford the luxury because actually I am targeting something, namely the c3. Now you defend whilst you attack. That's cool. You defend c3 and you attack b7. I don't think it's that bad. After all, it's not bad at all. Okay. Now I have to think. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at... Hey, even this? But what if you take on b7? Yeah, but I can take as well. So yeah, there are very many ifs and perhapses. Very, very many ifs and perhapses. Um, not quite sure. Let me just play knight c6. Okay, I guess. How was your day, Charlotte? I personally had a club and I finished the club, and now I'm just playing rapid with Tom. And if it's one or two people, probably will conclude very soon after. Okay, I'm not sure fully convinced, Tom, about this in regards with the possible knight to d2. So in principle, I think it's good, the king's safety. But this idea here, I mean, you might be, maybe you get out of it to queen b7, but I don't think so. I don't think so because of this fork. I mean, you could still take on b7, try to do some counter. Yeah, in principle, it's very good to castle, but if there is a fork, obviously you need to make sure there is no fork coming first, and then let's make it a draw, and we'll look then with the help of the table base. We'll conclude together. Yeah, let's make it. Okay, we couldn't have drawn it, Tom. It's completely, yeah. I mean, that's like over the board, really. Not a big advantage. Yeah, so indeed, queen takes b7, and I was planning this. So queen takes b7, and then knight a5. Knight a5. It happens. I lost like 2 rapids today, I think, also. So there are all sorts of ideas. And so here, Tom, the engine says it's only a plus 0.03. Or even more. So you are doing very well with white. Knight a5 was definitely the stuff I was planning. Definitely the stuff. I mean, I was thinking that if Tom takes on b7, I'm going to do some knight a5. That's what I planned. Yeah, rook c8 is absolutely super brilliant because it hits c3. But the game is very equal. Very, very super equal. Very nice, very equal. F3. Look at this move, Tom. Okay, I gotta say, this is something very cool. Because F3 forces my knight to go away. It forces me to move away. And then, Tom, you castle. Then you castle. By the way, you don't have a problem with the light squares because the light square bishop had disappeared. So you don't have a problem with a possible bishop, attacking the light squares. You don't have a problem with that. So F3, it's good. Plus, you are the master of the dark squares, if there's anything. So you can afford the luxury of F3. Knight goes away, then you can just play whatever you want. I think you're doing very well. Very, very, very good. Yes. So probably you just rushed it a little bit here with the castle king side. Even queen b7 would be something, but probably it's good to think about a king safety. So f3, kick the knight away. I mean, just look at the idea. f3 forces, I mean, I have to run away. I have to run away. Probably I would just go knight f6 straight away. Knight d6, says the engine. I'm not sure I would have played that one. I could have, but hey, I'm a human. And I don't think you got a problem here. Now you can castle if you wish so, Tom. Now you can castle. You got no problem. You got no problem with castling. You got no problem with queen takes b7. I think you're doing very well with white. No problem. A very long game. You've got a bit of an advantage here. If queen b7, actually, you got plus 0.44. Doing very well. Anything else gives, a bit level. It's getting level. Bishop g3, queen b2, 0, g4. But queen takes b7, very good. Tom, thank you for the game. Don't be too harsh on yourself. We are all improving all the time. So it's okay. Thank you very much, Tom. I think you might have been you and Alex, maybe, I don't know, maybe 1, 2 viewers this evening. We'll try again tomorrow evening if we get more people. Perhaps we can make an arena. You never know. Okay. Cheers, bud. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Have a good day, sir.